So, what if the most powerful, creative, and fulfilling chapter of life hasn't happened yet? What if the deepest, most sacred expression of your soul is just waiting to be brought forth into the world? I'm Carol LaRue, and welcome to Encore, the radiant second act of life. This is a space and time to set aside for men and women in the second half of life. After career retirement, after raising and launching children, after spending time and energy meeting the expectations of others. This is a space where we redefine growing older with more energy, clarity, purpose, and intention. So whether you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, or even 80s, this isn't about winding down. It's about rising up to meet your most true expression of yourself. And guess what? I'm going to be along this with you on this journey. It's going to be quite a ride. As a seasoned healthcare professional, author of 2 books, speaker, trainer, and facilitator of workshops and retreats on self-care and mindfulness, stepping into doing this podcast is part of my second act. I've never shared my heart and mind in this format. Yet I remain passionate about helping others become their best version of themselves and lead their best lives. Like many of you, I reached a moment when I realized that while we're all living on borrowed time, life is not ending. I realized that this stage of life was providing me with the freedom to begin again, but differently. And admittingly, the thought of doing my own podcast scared and overwhelmed me because it was so unfamiliar. However, I continued to feel the pull, and offering this podcast causes me to explore my own edges, or what I call growth edges, and move into new areas of personal and professional growth. In my books, The Art of Self-Health and A Pocket Full of Presents, I explore and provide guidance in lifelong skills and practices related to mindful living and holistic self-care, all of which provide a strong inside-out foundation for self-awareness, energy, mobility, creativity, self-expression, and inner peace. I truly, in my heart of hearts, believe that these practices have sustained my own vitality, allowing me to navigate through a myriad of hiccups and challenges in the past 20 years. Self-care and self-love is not selfish. That's my motto that I live by and I teach by. So during these podcasts, we're going to visit 3 key concepts that are going to be kind of threaded throughout the podcasts. These concepts were from my first book, The Art of Self-Health. And the overarching first concept is that of resilience, or messages from the turtle. Turtles, I love turtles, and turtles embody resilience. They've been on the earth for millions of years, and they can teach us a lot. For example, how to slow down and be more patient. Stop the hurry, for goodness sake. How to adapt and gracefully change. How to be willing to stick our neck out and take a risk now and then. And how to always feel at home and be at home within yourself, just like they are in the shell. So my connection with turtles has spanned many, many years. And to this day, I connect with them every day at our little place on a rural lake in Oklahoma, where the turtles reside in the cove. In fact, the past few days, we are in spring. The turtles come out and sun every afternoon, all line up and sun on a log that we provided. We call it our turtle habitat. But they take time to spend time in community with each other and just rest and enjoy themselves, the wonderful healing powers of nature. So we have affectionately named our cove Turtle Cove, and enjoy the presence of turtles and what they show us and how they show us to live every day. So we'll have a little bit of that theme throughout these podcasts. The second concept is that of balance. You know, in our busy working lives, we go, go, go. Okay, we are constantly serving and meeting the needs of others. So, in order to come into balance, it's important that we adopt both yin and yang energies. Yin being the feminine energy, the energy of being able to receive and go inward in a comfortable way. And balancing that with the yang energy, which is a more active energy. It's a masculine energy. It is that energy of going outside of ourselves and meeting the needs of others. We need both of them. And as most of us know, in our working life and the time when we're raising children, whatever it is, we operate primarily in yang energy if you look at what activities you do throughout the day. So it's time now to spend more time on giving to yourself and receiving the gift of your own attention on yourself. It's a time to rest a bit more, to give yourself and receive your own loving attention. The third concept we'll be visiting is that of positive change. When we want to change something in our life, it begins with that desire, that feeling of I want or I need. So as you feel the nudges of perhaps the changes that are coming forward in your life, plant those initial seeds of desire, of what you want and need, and then allow the development and the growth to blossom organically. You can help that along by obtaining the knowledge you need. I had to get some help on what I needed to know about doing podcasts, for example. And then practice the skills that you need to bring those changes into fruition, just like I'm doing right now. It's going to take lots of practice for me with this. And finally, through all of that, you can enjoy the manifestation of what it is that you brought into being through your initial desire. And I call that bringing it into right action. That's putting it into action, into the world, in a way that feels true to you. You're doing what is true for you, but it also is serving what's good for the others that you touch in your world. So it's a win-win. Right action is a win-win for all. Now, just because as we grow older, we have a few more aches and pains, okay? A little more stiffness when we get up in the morning, perhaps. It doesn't mean that we quit living. In fact, the bodily changes that come with the natural process of aging are perfect messages and catalysts for adapting, for adaptation, just like the turtle adapts. It allows us to explore new ways of doing things. It opens up our ability to be more creative in how we approach tasks or those things that we want and enjoy doing. And most importantly, it allows us to continue doing what we love, but in ways that feel good and that no longer feel like a push. So we are able to ease into things maybe a little more slowly than we did before. This second act is a moment when we stop living by default and start living by design, our design, which demands that we explore our edges and create new from this rich tapestry of life experiences that we bring forth and the wisdom that we have that comes with it. This is the perfect time to fulfill your why. Why are you here on earth at this particular time? We all know that these times are extremely challenging right now and full of a lot of chaos and change every day, it seems like. Mother Earth, she, and our community need all of us to rise up, to take stock, to rise up, to bolster our energy, clarify our purpose as to why we are here right now, and move forward boldly with inner peace, with joy, and with courage. The world can use more of that, definitely, right? So, over the course of this and future episodes, we're going to explore and dive into one, tried and true self-care practices for any age or stage of life. These practices are ways to nourish your body, your mind, your spirit, and your own unique emotional expression. We're going to discover maybe a new identity and reinvention of why you're here, what brings you joy, and fulfill that with everyday actions. This is all about answering your soul's calling. And we're going to learn to understand and clarify purpose, creativity, and our legacy along the way. So some samples of key themes that we'll be addressing is letting go of busyness and creating more time to choose activities and endeavors that bring us fulfillment, satisfaction, and bring deep meaning to what we're doing and why we're doing it. We're going to talk about healing from the inside out through mindfulness practices. We will talk about how our relationships change as we age, whether it's friendships, partnerships, marriages, um, and how our communication changes. We'll also address themes of loss as we age and of renewal through that loss. We'll talk about the fear of change and how to embrace a greater possibility mindset. And then how about the risk, that sticking your neck out like the turtle does, the risk and the rewards of maybe creating new pathways. The power of our thoughts, ways that we can pay attention to what we're giving attention to, minding our mind as we move through each day. The art of graceful aging. It doesn't have to be cranky. It can be graceful and with a smile. All of us will go through different ages and stages of life with this, but how do we do this more gracefully? And then I love the one about just the power of no more filters when you talk. I know I find myself sometimes saying things that, whoa, that came out of my mouth, but you know what? It's usually pretty true. And at this stage of life, it's really kind of about letting go of that people pleasing that many of us grow up doing most of our lives. So it's time to step forward with your truth. So if you've ever felt like something is ending perhaps in your life, if you are questioning maybe who you are now, if you know there is more for you perhaps, but you're not sure what it looks like, guess what? You're not lost. You are in transition. And this podcast can be your companion in that transition. Together, we're going to explore how to step into the rest of your life and a life that feels aligned with who you are right now, a life that is energized, and a life that is truly yours, defined by you. So this is just the beginning. Start where you are. There's no right or wrong place to start, just where you are. Your radiant second act doesn't have to be quiet. It can be radiant. Shining your light on those whom you love, whom you serve, and who you share community with. My intention is to keep each episode at 30 minutes or less. I don't know about you, but my attention span at this stage of life maybe isn't quite what it used to be. So it will give you less time for listening and more time for processing and taking whatever steps you desire to take and what you are feeling called to do. The most important step, however, is to start with yourself, to turn your attention to you. You deserve your full attention, your full self-care, your full self-love. So take steps to do that. And I'm going to invite you now to join me on this first step by giving yourself some time and attention with a short meditation. So what I invite you to do is wherever you're sitting, or if you can, place both feet flat on the floor and just imagine that nice, rich, supportive earth under your feet. Now take your right hand and place it on your lower belly. Okay, about 2 to 3 inches below your belly button is your body's center of gravity. Okay, so place your right hand there, and that is your giving hand. That's that you're going to give yourself a little grounding presence there. And then place your left hand over your heart. This is your receiving hand. Okay, you're going to allow yourself through this meditation to just receive maybe messages through your heart. So go ahead and close your eyes gently and just allow yourself to slip into a nice, easy, but full breath, nice and slow in and nice and slow out. Feel the rise and fall of your belly and your chest, connecting with your breath and bringing you into the present moment through your body awareness. Feel the grounding of presence through that right hand on your lower belly. And as you bring your attention to your heart, just allow your heart to speak, your left hand to receive the truth, the calling of your heart. It's your heart that holds and knows your soul's truest calling. So just take time to listen, to just observe maybe any images, anything that comes to mind. Don't judge it. Just be with yourself. Imagine yourself holding yourself with loving attention. And allow yourself to receive openly the attention of yourself. And then when you're ready, just gently open your eyes. This is a great practice. You can actually practice every day. One thing that I do every day before I start my day is take time with me. And I take some time to journal. I take time to quiet myself and just listen. What do I need today? A lot of times I have things on my schedule, but what do I need to fill me up today? And how can I accomplish that and do that? So, if you are feeling intrigued, perhaps inspired, or interested in joining me on this journey over the next few months, please follow and subscribe my accounts on Spotify and my YouTube channel. The Radiant Second Act of Life is for all of us. It's our encore. And if you know someone who maybe is interested in this, please share with them and invite them to join us as well. Now, our next episode, we're going to dig right into self-care, and we're going to talk about 7 dimensions of well-being in ways that are simple, practical, that you can begin integrating into your life now when you choose to give attention to you and follow the path that is calling you. So until then, oh, wait. Oh, whew, I'm taking a nice exhale breath here. You know, the stress of putting this podcast together, you know, and the time that it's taken for this first one has been a little stressful, a little taxing. So I think I'm going to go take a nap, okay? Because I can. I'll see you next time.